Well, I've just tweeted here. This is basically what I think. Ronaldo forcing his way out of United to sign for Al-Nassr is just very, very sad. Clearly thought he'd get a decent club elsewhere and has ended up accepting he's finished. Sad ending to Ronaldo's career. Could have looked much different if he left United in the summer, says Eddie. I've got to say, as a Manchester United fan and a Ronaldo fan, I'm bemused and surprised about it. I've got to say, I'm bemused and surprised by it, because I think no part of me actually thought that he would do that. So, you know what? The thing about Ronaldo for me is, and it's a very personal thing, is that I've known this lad as a footballer since he was at United as a teenager, and his whole career has been about personal obsession and drive. You know, he played in the Premier League, he played in La Liga, he went to Serie A. He's got countless caps and goals for Portugal. He's never been a coaster. He's made a lot of money, but the money has come to him because of his footballing abilities. He's never been about, you know, there are Brazilians like, what's his name, Oscar, and was it Ramirez, who left Chelsea in their mid-20s to go to China. He's never been about that, Ronaldo. It's always been about achieving at the highest level. And the whole interview he did with Piers Morgan was basically because he felt disrespected by Manchester United, that he was better than being used as a sub from the bench in the Premier League, that he was better than, being sat on the bench instead of Rashford or whoever else. So for him to force his way out of Man United and then go to Saudi Arabia, it's such a mercenary move. It is. It's such a mercenary move. And it's such an acceptance that everybody's right. You are washed. You are finished. And I'm surprised by that, because he's never been that. One of the lines I've always said about Ronaldo is, write him off at your peril, because all his career he's been written off and he always proves people wrong. So I'm very surprised. I'm not angry that he's done it, because I've got no right to be angry. I still really like him and always will. But I am disappointed. I thought he would have had something in him, that he wanted to find a way to prove people wrong. Something in Ronaldo has changed. You know, the fire's gone out, whatever you want to call it. He's just decided now he doesn't want to, or he can't compete at the highest level anymore, because wherever that Al-Nassr is, and I know next to nothing about it, that's not a standard of football that's his level. But he's got to do what's best for him. I am surprised, but he might have made the right decision. Just because I'm surprised doesn't mean he hasn't made the right decision. He might have made the right decision for him, and I hope he has, because that's not the sort of decision he normally would make. And maybe it's just acceptance. Maybe he just accepts he's finished at the top level now. Maybe he just accepts that's it. I'm done. Messi winning the World Cup might have just made him realise that, these are battles I can't fight anymore. But the money's fantastic as well. But as I said, I don't think the money... Noop has probably put it better than I could have done. Has Ronaldo's fire been put out by Messi's World Cup? Every dream comes to an end. It's the right move. I think the right move was to retire at the end of last season. I think as a United fan, we all know that. I hope he's found inner peace. I hope he's found happiness, because I think in that interview with Piers Morgan, it was very obvious that he didn't have inner peace and he wasn't happy and he was very frustrated. I think the indication is that if he's going to Saudi Arabia, he probably has. And I think that's, when you think about it, he probably has found some inner peace. And I think that's probably a good thing, because, like I say, for me, I'm very surprised that he's accepted the Saudi Arabia move to over trying to prove people wrong. But, how long do you think it will take for Messi to overtake Ronaldo's Champions League record, says Connor? I think he'll need 2 seasons. I think he'll need 2 seasons. He might not do it, but the thing is, he's going to get pretty close to doing it. I'm going to do a poll. He needs 12. Messi's 1 goal off 100 for Argentina, isn't he? He's going to definitely play on to do that. I think Messi could play till he's 39. I certainly think he'll play till he's 36. I think Messi is signing a new PSG contract. There was talk about him going to the MLS, but I think it's too early for Messi to go to the MLS. 64% of you said yes, Messi will break the record. Mark, does that Piers Morgan interview now somewhat make the interview more pathetic for Ronaldo? 100%, Arturo. It makes it very pathetic. There are strong rumours about Messi and MLS on the summer, so I doubt it. But if this stays another 2 years, he'll break it, says Hasib. I've also heard that he's going to sign a new contract at PSG for 2 years. Ronaldo has accepted defeat, says Baz. I personally thought Messi would go back to Barcelona. Danny says the thing with Ronaldo is he didn't accept it when Ten Hag benched him, but when that Portugal coach benched him, he must have noticed that he isn't the same player that he was. YouTube's a bit of a weird place at times. Not a Ronaldo fan, but I think because of his ego, he expected a Champions League club to go get him after his release. Since it didn't happen, he went to Al-Nassr for pay, says Oligarch. Well, look, I wasn't going to mention this, but from a financial point of view, I will mention it. So basically, how much is Ronaldo getting to go to play in Saudi Arabia for 2 years? Is it 100 million a year or something like that? So any updates on Sancho? I'd play him over Anthony, says Connor Martin. I'll come back to that in a minute. So £100 million a year to go and play at Saudi Arabia, yeah? And then you've probably got, if you're lucky, a Champions League club saying, we'll take a risk on you, you'll be on the bench, and we will give you, I doubt anyone would want to give him any more than 250 grand a week, which is $1 million a year, isn't it? So it's about 10 million a year. So even if he got an offer from a Champions League club, they probably wouldn't want to give him any more than 10 million a year. And he can go to Saudi Arabia and earn 100 million a year. So financially, it's that's got to come into it, I suppose. Khalid's just given us a Ronaldo quote on his move to Al-Nassr. He says, I'm thrilled for a new experience in a different league and a different country. The vision that Al-Nassr has is very inspiring. But what vision can they have? They're never going to play in the Champions League. Their league is never going to be the Premier League or La Liga. I'd like, at least I gave it a few seconds to think what that vision could be. But let's be honest, that vision cannot be anything, can it? I mean, the MLS has been around for ages, and that really can't make an impact on European leagues either. I hope it's not Messi next. Ronaldo is basically 38. It's normal. We need to appreciate what he's done for the game. What's your favourite Ronaldo goal, Mark? Says that's Achilles. I think Ronaldo scored some fantastic goals. I really like the one against Fulham from the wing at Craven Cottage. I really like the Moscow goal, the Wes Brown cross and the header to make us 1-0 against Chelsea. I think the Portsmouth free kick against David James always gets shown a lot. They're worth going back and watching. There's some absolute thunderbolts. Fantastic player. One of the greats.